Hello and welcome to this week's Weaving Web3 with me, James.
Me, Chris.
And me, Stash.
Today we're going to talk about a hot button topic. Chris is going to take us through what's been going on with Logan Paul, CoffeeZilla, and the CryptoZoo situation. Chris, could you give the listeners a brief overview of what CryptoZoo is and why everyone's so upset?
Of course I can. So, CryptoZoo is an NFT collection which was made, created, and basically pushed by Logan Paul, right? So Logan Paul, on his podcast, he was like, oh yeah, I've got this really cool NFT collection. He didn't call it an NFT collection though. He called it a game. He was like, it's a really cool game where you can make money. And yeah, like it's just really fun to play. So turns out the idea behind it was so if you've heard of NFT collection called Crypto Kitties, I think it's called. Basically, you get two of them, you can breed them, which makes other generations of Crypto Kitties with different sort of appearances and stuff like that. And you can earn tokens by either selling them or like doing other things, staking them, whatever. So basically, there's this whole ecosystem economy around it, which for CryptoZoo was the Zoo token, right? Mm-hmm. So he's got this Zoo token, which is a crypto, obviously, that you can earn by owning, staking these animals, right? Mm-hmm. So the whole idea was you bought the eggs. So you bought the eggs, and then on reveal day, hatch day, you can hatch your eggs and see what you got.
Yeah.
However, a lot of stuff happened in between, and hatch day never actually worked, never actually really. So basically, people got these pictures of eggs, mm-hmm. and they couldn't hatch them. They couldn't do anything with them. In the meantime, when they created this, basically they listed the Zoo token on as a token, and they gave themselves a large quantity of this Zoo token. Yeah. In the hype up, the build up, Zoo token went massively up because everyone was really hyped. They were like, okay. And then a couple of the people on the project dumped all of their tokens basically and made an absolute killing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically Logan Paul is the face, right? He's the guy, he was involved in the whole thing. And it turns out that about 4 of the people involved high up basically decided they were scammers. Yeah.
Okay. So no, that's fantastic. So it starts off as a completely standard. Oh Christ! Smash the mic. Completely standard NFT project where we're building hype. We've got an eggs. We're doing a release, right?
But with the difference that
there's also a token.
It's a game. So he was aiming it specifically at kids as well. He was like, oh yeah, it's really fun to play. Like you can play with your kids, stuff like that. And you can earn these tokens by playing the game.
Yeah. So that's all happened. And so my question is, and I'm sure that Stash and Chris are going to disagree with me here, is why is everyone blaming Logan Paul? Because my question here would be, for example, Logan Paul has a drinks company, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Has a drinks company. Prime,
he's
the face.
They've got a meme out now which changed the name of Prime to Crime.
Right, and that's Chris's thumbnail. Fantastic. Yeah. But so my question there is, right, so the Prime company that him and KSI own,
yeah,
they don't make the drink.
Another very dubious character. Sorry, I'm offending anyone that likes KSI,
but like they don't make the drink, right? So if you get a bad batch of Prime, do you blame Logan Paul for promoting it, or do you blame the actual people who make it? And that's where I sometimes think about stuff, and I'm like, actually, he's the marketing face of a project, and I assume my assumption would be that the people who set this up and who are doing it are either paying him a big amount up front to do that, and then also promising him large rewards. I don't know how the system lays out, but I'd be interested.
Let Stash talk first.
No, I'll let you talk. I want you to talk first.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the difference between Prime, the energy drink, Prime is made. It is a product, a physical product. You pay for Prime, you get Prime, right? Mm-hmm. Whether you like it or not, there is certain standards, food health standards, all this. It needs to be that product, right? So whether you like it or not, that does not matter to Logan Paul. That's not Logan Paul's fault if you don't like it. If you get a bad batch, that's probably something to do with the shop, something like that. Like probably dubious food health, whatever problems. There are lots of factors involved in that, right? With the NFT project, he was one of the creators, right?
Well,
So
this is where I pause you there. Go when you say he's one of the creators. I guarantee you, he hasn't written a line of code.
no,
I bet he's not drawn any of the art. What of the actual product has he made apart from marketing it?
He was responsible for like hiring everyone. It's his idea, and he was getting the people who would make it come together and come to life. And one thing I personally think why he is the problem, he is his fault. He didn't do his due diligence, and he started. I haven't watched the whole documentary, but he started blaming the other people, like the actual scammers who scammed him. But like, if you're going to hire someone for like something that's going to be worth millions, I don't know. I don't know why I get frustrated, but I am frustrated for all those people, like innocent people, like kids younger than our age that have just been scammed out of his money because he didn't do his due diligence. And I know, okay, NFTs, everything, you know, you have to do your own research as well. But I think it works both ways. He's a public figure, and lots of people trust him and his brand before he went into Web3. So you would have expected that kind of like trust coming into this.
See, my question there is really interesting. Is he not also a victim? No. Is he not the biggest victim? No. But right, hear me out here. So if somebody comes to you, Chris, and they go, "I've got a really good idea for you," and you go ahead and you market it all, and you think you're going to get a big payday, and at the end of the day, they walk off with all the money and leave you with all the bad publicity, are you not also a victim of
How
people?
am I going to get all the bad publicity? If I've been hired by this guy, I have proof that this guy was the one that hired me.
No. So sorry. So Logan Paul, what does he get out of these guys not delivering the product? Do you see what I mean? If he's cashed out his tokens and he's made bank, I completely get it. But my understanding was he hasn't cashed out.
No.
So this is where
that's his big sort of thing.
But so this is my question,
right? So he associated his face, his brand with this company, right? It's the same with Prime. He's associated his brand with Prime, right? A big driving factor for the selling of this product is because of his brand, right? So Prime is going crazy, everyone's buying Prime, and Prime is a good product, it's a physical product. You drink it, you like it, whatever. There's some sort of like no one could get it sort of thing because everyone wants exclusivity, right? So he's done a similar thing with this NFT project. He's associated his brand with this NFT project. He is the reason why people bought in, right?
Chris, I'm with you there, 100% completely agreed up to this point.
Yes. So if he abandons the product just like that after getting scammed or whatever by these other people who he's hired scammers that have inevitably scammed with, and I'll point this out in the CoffeeZilla's video. Thank you very much, CoffeeZilla, for the video. It was very informative. If you're ever watching this, basically in CoffeeZilla's video, he had text messages that were sort of made between the founding members, I guess, the people that he hired and himself, about the project. And the whole idea was that they were going to sell their tokens, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They were going to make money out of it. The scammers did it first, though, and he abandoned the project.
So, but that's where I deviate and I go, well, but Logan Paul, and I'm not like a massive Logan Paul stan, but from my perspective, right, he gains nothing from all of this. All he gets from all of this is bad publicity, which is why I look at it and go, is he not as much of a victim as everyone who's invested? Because although he's not physically lost any money, he's put time and effort that he could have spent promoting something else, promoting Prime, promoting one of his other interests. He's put all that time and effort in for some guys that he's hired, and granted, he could have done more due diligence to walk off with other people's money and his money. Do you see what I mean? Like, that's where I land in it. I go, it's difficult to say.
The thing, though, right? So they don't know for sure about that because, right? So in order to buy these eggs, right, there's an egg sale, as we said in the NFT episode, right? You have a preset whitelist sale, and then you have a sale, and there's a pre-reveal, which would have been the pre-hatching stage, and then you can hatch your NFT, right? Which never happened. So basically, he sold all of these eggs initially for Ethereum.
Yeah.
Where's that Ethereum gone? Who's to say that he didn't get a big payout and then he didn't touch his tokens, which were another big payout for him, but he didn't touch them because the others got to it first. He abandoned the project because nothing worked, right? And like, so he's, at the end of the day, he has not lost money. He has lost face now because someone called him out. Up until this point, it's been a year and 6 months, something like that, since CryptoZoo launched. Up until now, no one brought it up, and he would have gotten away with it.
Yeah.
When I say lost money, I don't mean he physically gone down in net worth, but for him, if that project had launched and had been successful, he could have made millions and millions.
Yeah.
So when I say lost money, I don't mean he's actually out of pocket,
Yeah.
but I mean the potential in the business. Because right, and I'm, like I said, I'm not Logan Paul Sam, but from my perspective, I don't understand why someone of his wealth and someone of his sort of publicity would get into bed with scammers willingly. Do you see what I mean?
Scammer himself.
Yeah,
he associates with these people because he is one of those people.
And like one more thing, like when they were going for like all the smart contracts, they were of like the game. They found out that it was that was sort of ages ago, but that it's like a copy of a completely another contract from some random other game. So so it wasn't actually, because he also said like on news, we've spent millions in development and stuff like that. And even though when you look up the trace of it, it's like, hang on a second, there's literally no work gone into it. You can literally, I could basically make a hard fork of this an entire other project in a click of a button. So
yeah,
that's why I also think everything that he's saying and why the blockchain is so wonderful, because it's all open source, we can see when they're lying. And I do not believe that he was unaware of the scamming that is going on. I feel that I don't know, if I was someone like him, you must be stupid to think like, not, I don't know, you just have to be he must have been pretending dumb, in my opinion. I just don't understand how you could.
So another point, right? He, as Stash said, he said they've spent millions, they've hired in loads of different artists, things like that, right? They revealed some of the pictures of what the revealed eggs would look like, right? And they were literally stock images with a bit of Photoshop. He spent loads of money on this handmade art, which is a stock image with like of a panda with a elephant nose.
Basically like the whole Trump thing. Like
if you did that with Prime, right? That would be like saying, "Oh yeah, I've got this brand new energy drink," and giving them like dirty water.
Okay, right. So it's really interesting because I'm sort of like, I'm liking to play devil's advocate just because I find that fun.
No, absolutely. I love enjoying this.
No. It's always good fun.
It's fueling me. It's getting me.
Well, no, that's good. I like a bit of energy. So it's really fascinating to me. So essentially, like we've got a situation where Logan Paul, because in my mind, like, right, if I look at it from like an account perspective, like a business perspective, it's not uncommon for companies to incur a lot of costs. For example, like if you're in the UK and you did a large NFT sale, 20% of that, depending on certain rules and regs and VAT things, there's a lot of VAT work goes into it. 20% of that could immediately be gone, but in VAT, straight off the bat. You know, do you know what I mean? So you suddenly, if you sell to 20 million quid, big chunk of that is just gone. What's it, 4 million quid is gone immediately. So I think sometimes there are a lot of costs that people maybe don't consider. And then the profit that you've made, you then have to pay tax on the profit. So you're then paying, another like, corp tax going up to 25%. Like in the UK, lots of that is going. And obviously, corp tax on profits. So that's different than on like your revenue, which is what you've sold it for. But there will be lots of costs in there. And typically what I think would happen in a project like that is you do your initial raise and you pay out the people who are involved in it quite a lot of money for the work they do. would be how I would say it. So yeah, absolutely.
In
Like,
the video
I think
as well, he pointed out that the dev team never got paid.
you see that's fascinating to me, because what I would, well, the legitimate businesses, what you would normally do is obviously they would have a lot of cost incurred on doing a project, because a lot of the time though as well, you've got to think that you bring together at least 2 business groups, if not 3, because you need techie people, you need artists, and then you need business people. And that's sort of your minimum, because you need to market it. And obviously, like, the artists are, like, you are big on your crypto Twitter stash, and like the artists obviously market on there and stuff, don't they? But it's you sort of need all 3 in
He
your.
doesn't have that cost because he's marketing it, right?
But that's what I mean. So that's his side of it, isn't it? So it's just tricky. And I look at it maybe dealing with lots of businesses, lots of companies, and going, I wonder if you are someone like Logan Paul, if you have the capability to do due diligence on those people. It's as it like asking, if I asked you to review a set of accounts I'd prepared, would you be able to tell me what was wrong with them? Do you see what I mean? The same way.
I can actually.
Can
I'm
you?
really good at that work. Just give them all to me, and I think I'll sign them off.
But exactly the same way, if Stash had prepped up some vaccines he'd been working on or whatever, and told me and Chris to have a look at, do you think these charts look right? But we've got no ability to review each other's work in our own specialist areas. So I find, like, when Stash got, do you due diligence? And yeah, you need to check the people you're working with, but the actual stuff that they're doing in business, the reality of business is, it's very difficult to actually do that.
In his reply video, right, Logan Paul pointed out that the lead developer was a convicted criminal, right? He made that out as if CoffeeZilla was, like, basically, he made out as if it was a dub on CoffeeZilla, that the guy that he hired had a criminal record. Criminal records, like, you do a DBS check or whatever, right? A criminal records check for, like, anyone that you hire, if you're a proper company. If you're a massive influencer with a reputation at stake, do a criminal records check, man. Like,
that's right. But so I would say there, though, that understanding is maybe not complete. So if you have a criminal, so you, Chris, could have done a crime at 18. Yeah. After a certain amount of years, that crime will essentially be hidden off your record, and you don't have to show it to employers. So stuff like that can actually happen. And depending on what industry you're working in, so like teachers, etc., have to be able to do DBS checks, but not everyone does. So that's a tricky one, because it's like an anti-punitive thing. So that if you once ever did a crime, it's not that you can never get a job.
Yeah.
So that's a tricky one. So the fact he does have a criminal record, it wouldn't always be obvious to an employer that did exist.
Yes.
So that,
however,
yeah.
In that case, you're saying this guy is a reputable person, right? So
yeah.
After he's gone so many years without. So how come he managed to find out that he was a convicted criminal then?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? And it's very difficult, because I think they're essentially entering into a partnership. I don't know if they did like a company or whatever, but if you were doing that with people, you sort of need to know them. And that's why I'd always assumed that, and I might be completely wrong with this, that the CryptoZoo was like a prime situation where these guys had come to him with the idea, right, and just said, no, but this is the interesting thing, right? You guys shake your heads, but do we have any evidence that it is actually his idea, or is he just an arrogant YouTuber who claims it is? Do you see what I mean? Like, I don't know. I actually don't know.
Regardless of whether he was the guy that hired everyone, there is proof of that. So if it wasn't his specific idea, he's still the one with the responsibility, right? And absolutely. Right, so you can have, let's say, right, in the prime situation, right, this physical products, right? You're a big YouTuber, you promote this drink, you haven't created it, but they have given you dirty water instead of an energy drink, right?
Yeah.
Who's to blame for that? The people, right? But also you for promoting it. Like, be like, oh, can I have some samples of this? Is this a good thing? Sort of thing. You are the main reason why they have sold so many, right? So that's the thing. This is another point that was pointed out in the CoffeeZilla video. If it was just the 4 scammers, they don't have the clout. They don't have the sort of millions of followers They wouldn't be able to promote it the same way. They probably would have got some people. They probably would have scammed some people, but not on the massive scale that they managed to because of Logan Paul.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a platform boosted this thing up to the moon.
Yeah, and then Logan Paul disassociating himself completely with the project for a year and a half screams rug pull, because he's not even bringing it up in any videos, anything. He's not even going out and saying and informing people, oh, I got scammed. Yeah. I'm dealing with this. I'm trying to sort it out. I'm still backing this. He has promoted this item, which has lost a lot of people a lot of money, and then decided he's going to wipe his hands clean of it. Like, that's a scam on Logan Paul's front.
What out of interest, what could he do to remedy that situation for you?
Well, what he's trying to do, suppose, or what he's doing now that he got called out on it, actually make the project. Which, yeah. But the thing is, a lot of people are saying it, and it is just because he got called out, because his reputation got hit, right? He's only doing this as management, as like damage control. Yeah.
And like probably a lot of those people, because if you look at the charts of it, like the price has gone way so low, and if the pumps that it has had, the people that bought way up will not get their money back. There need millions that need to go into this project for those people that lost out because of
thousands of pounds.
All I'm hearing, boys, is that we should be buying a couple. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, no, the pump's already over. So he made his reply video that he was continuing working on it, and there was a pump that went up. Yeah, like the price went up to 0.2, and then it's just plummeted back down again. All the people that know he was a scammer from the fact that he left them unread, unheard for a year and a half were like, well, actually, the price has gone up a bit. I can take some of the money back that I lost, not all of it, and get out of this project.
Absolutely.
Because this is a
shit show. Yeah. I think if you are a person, let's say us in the future, some company approaches us, oh, we are this amazing blockchain, whatever. I would want to meet every single person, like you go through their accounts, or like us going to do this, because like I would never want to associate myself with a company that I don't trust in their values or anything like that, because like at the end of the day we would be putting our own reputation and our millions of followers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I just find it really interesting where I sort of look at it and just go, it looks so similar to so many NFT projects we've already discussed. Like, it doesn't seem, this seems absolutely normal, apart from the fact that they've got a hype man who's very good at hyping, apparently. It's really interesting. And I really appreciate you actually, Chris, sort of explaining it all to me. And I but I don't know about you boys.
I
find though that, like, at the end of the day, I'm not a big Logan Paul fan, but I like to sort of stand on the other side and go like, what's going on? Because I typically find if people will happy to argue back with you and discuss it, it challenges your views and solidifies theirs.
No,
and if they make you think about it a little bit as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, I really appreciate.
I do agree, like from your point, like when you're saying, "Oh, is his reputation?" Like, there's always two sides of every story, and then sometimes your views might be like, bow down a bit. But
the thing is, though, if he was even sorry, right? This man is a complete sociopath, right? If he was even sorry about it, he would have posted something and been like, I'm really sorry. This is a man who makes millions and millions and millions of pounds per month just from Prime, right? He could have easily paid back every single person that lost money on the project. He didn't. Like,
right, okay, but so do you think in the current climate where he operates, social media, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, etc., that anyone ever gets anything positive out of apologizing? It strikes me that if you do something bad and apologize for it, the people who already hate you take it as an admission of guilt and you're a terrible person and you knew what you were doing and you were awful. And the people who didn't care still don't care, right? And if you don't say sorry and just let it die, unless somebody goes in and does all the work and brings it back up, it just dies. So from like a PR perspective, I think what he did is completely normal. You see like massive businesses doing this all the time. Something will pop up. Oh, it's horrendous, horrendous. And they go, well, do you know what? Twitter only lasts for 24 hours. I'm just going to sit tight and wait for that to blow over. And they do. And so from my perspective, I look at it and go, I'm sure he has a PR team. And I'm certain they'd have said to him, like, oh, just don't speak to anyone on that project. It'll all blow over. And I wouldn't be surprised. Like,
I think that's
Will's,
wrong. I think that's
I
disgusting. I think that's
hey, I'm telling you.
I know, I agree.
No,
with,
no,
I
that's how it
agree with you.
works.
I agree with you, but I also think there's still all these people who've led like out of pocket because of this.
Oh,
like
massively.
who are angry. And what CoffeeZilla did was give them a voice because they don't have any social media presence to be able to compare with Logan Paul. They can't put this out and like unless it goes viral, like which CoffeeZilla's thankfully, because he does have some sort of presence, did, and it forced Logan Paul to address it. Like they have no sort of way of getting anything.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because historically, it was the press's job to chase up on stuff like that. But because of how papers, TV, etc., is monetized now, they don't care about getting the truth. They care about clicks.
Yeah.
And that's the exact problem. Like CoffeeZilla's video has got a load of views, right? So he has got the clicks, but news people won't hound a story again and again and again because it doesn't benefit them. And I think this is a massive problem I see with just like how the world is monetizing now.
Yeah.
That like everything is sort of going down the short, sharp, get as many clicks, ad views as you can. And it sort of gets rid of a bit of real journalism. Because realistically, wouldn't you have wanted sort of all the, I don't know, big crypto journalistic websites sort of go after him? And maybe they do, but like, no one follows it up again and again and again. And I think, not to get too political, but I think Donald Trump is the one who brought in the sort of don't apologize for anything ever. Because he showed everyone that actually on Twitter, just don't apologize. Just carry on through.
Just double down.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because in 24 hours, no, you're on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And they don't care.
Something more outrageous and you hide the other outrageous thing that you did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's all, so I think that's my problem with it all is that if I was Logan Paul and I was in that same situation, would I have done things differently? You'd like to think you would have, but it's very difficult, isn't it, to sort of know what you'd do?
Yeah.
Because I know.
Also, right. So, as I said, Logan Paul has a history of scamming.
Oh, please tell me about his previous scams because I don't know any of it.
Right? This
Oh yeah, the promotion wasn't it
Doink.
Ethereum Max? Yeah, absolutely. There was multiple ones he was behind,
He
and then
did-
he dropped the charges for the 10 influencers, wasn't they? Suddenly, they were gonna like fine each one of them like $1 million each, and then suddenly it was dropped.
So there was this coin called Dink Doink, right? Which was a spring, right? And he was like, oh yeah, Dink Doink. I don't know anything about it, but it's really cool. And I'm all in. YOLO sort of thing. I'm like, and he even made a video, right? Where he's singing the song and he goes like, Dink Doink is my favorite coin. It takes like a shit on my chest and something in my mouth. I don't even know. Like, I'll show it to you guys later. Yeah. It's all in the South Park style, right? But it was a complete pump and dump, right? Yeah. Everything went quiet. He made his bags off of that. Like, see you later. So he has done this before. I don't know if he was promoting Safe Moon. There was Safe Moon, which was promoted by a load of people. Complete scam as well. Like, these influencers need to take accountability for what they're doing because they are putting these scams on a global scale. They have so much influence, so many viewers that they are pushing a scam, and they know that it's a scam because they are involved. They are making money off of it, right? That's the thing. If let's say our podcast, right? We got approached by an advertiser. They were like, yes, we are an advertising company that would like to promote the vaccine giving you AIDS.
The vaccine giving us AIDS.
Right? Let's say, would we accept their money and be like, hey guys, this company, so
would we promote a watch that has magnets that cures AIDS that we know is absolute bullshit? Because Chris is one there. I don't know what product Chris is offering there. No one's buying that. But something along those lines, would we promote that?
Yeah.
Well, I think first of all we'd have to talk about how much money they were offering, because everyone's got a price.
See, that's the thing.
But that's the problem in the world, isn't it? That everyone
does
has a
have
price.
at the end of the day. Yeah.
Because it's really tricky with stuff like NFT projects and like tokens, because it's rare that you break a person. So you're normally, it's a bit like crowdfunding, isn't it? You're taking 30 quid from 1 million people, not 30 million quid from one person. So the outlay and the devastation on the grand scale isn't as bad as, like, I've seen some scam tokens where it was like OneCoin, wasn't it? Where that was like they were rinsing people.
Yeah.
Whereas like I feel like potentially, because it's so disparate and you can't see the effects of it, you don't really notice that you've done damage to these people. And I think as well, like you said, maybe the initial price of these eggs was like, I don't know, 20, 30 quid, whatever they were.
But it was, I'm pretty sure it was like in the hundreds of dollars.
Okay, but even still, I bet people were trading them for 1,000.
Yeah.
Like, and it's those people that have lost out the most, isn't it? It's not the people who've bought one for 200 quid. Because at the end of the day, you go, well, if you've taken a £200 punt on an NFT, it's essentially gambling at that point anyway.
Yeah.
But I just don't know.
Also, there's the ethical argument of, right, this is a completely unregulated space. This guy is promoting it as a game for children. People bought these NFTs for their children. It is putting children in a situation where they are gambling.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Well, it is, but then, like, okay, what's the highest grossing game for EA Sports?
Fortnite. Oh no, sorry. FIFA.
Right. What makes the money? What makes the money on FIFA?
Chests and loot packs and
Ultimate Team, and they sell card packs, and that is all done by. I say all done by. It's mainly done by kids, like with parents' credit cards or birthday money or whatever they're doing.
However, right? So you have bought FIFA for 50 quid. You get the game. You play the game. You can buy the loot packs. They are optional extra. You buy the loot packs. It's a random luck chance, right? I agree that is gambling. However, with these things, in order to participate in the game, you buy a product which has a fluctuating price. Right?
I think though, I was just making the point of there are actually things that are exactly the same as gambling aimed at children. That I think should be legal, like microtransactions in games as well. I absolutely hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that you can get a mobile game. Oh, it's free. It's not free because you have to wait 7 hours or buy some gems or
build. Yeah, that's right.
And like I never played those because I always played on PC and played like actual games. But I think a lot of people did buy those, and a lot of people like play those, and you just think like they're just taking money out of people's pockets, and they use predatory, addictive gambling tactics to do it. And I just think, well, look, if you're happy to promote Clash of Clans or whatever all these influencers promote, it's almost the same thing as taking these punt on these weird NFT projects, because I see those games as predatory as this scam is.
I completely agree. They monetize them to a point where it's not really free to play. It's free to play if you have the time to grind for hours and hours and hours in order to achieve what you want. People are like, oh, well, is my time worth this if I just pay like a $5 at a time?
How do you think in the future you could stop projects doing something like this? Have we got any ideas for how you could stop them doing this? Like, for example, could OpenSea have on there, actually, you need to show us, before you can put your eggs up for sale on OpenSea, we need to see 10,000 variations of what it will be when it launches? Or, Jimmy, what I'm saying is, can we push the due diligence that Stash is saying Logan Paul should do onto industry experts? And in that way,
OpenSea, for one, definitely does not hold that responsibility, because OpenSea is like a marketplace, right?
No, I understand that, but I mean, sort of like when you were talking about the prices skyrocketing, I assume that trading was happening on OpenSea.
Well, there's loads of different, majority on OpenSea. But
so what I'm saying there is,
it could be on LooksRare, it could be on XYZ or whatever,
and stuff like that.
What I'm sort of angling at is, can we push the responsibility onto 5 or 6 big parties? No, but hear me out. So you can't protect the public from individual influencers releasing tokens.
Yeah.
But if all the resale bits, all the pumping and dumping happens through 6 companies, right? What is it not better to speak to them and go, you need to verify these following things before you're allowed to list? Or is that too controlling? Because from my perspective, if you can't control the influencers, can you control the marketplaces?
Well,
In the
it's
sa-
well, in
That's
some
when we
respect,
get
like,
into
if
the
you
regulation sort of argument, right? Of an unregulated space. But yeah, go on, Stash, what were you saying?
no, like in what you're saying, like the whole OpenSea, you could, but then if like let's say the stuff on OpenSea gets regulated, and they'd be like, yeah, you can't use this. Let's say it's a massive collection. There's millions in fees because they're getting cut of every single transaction that happens. They get it. And then let's say they stop a massive collection because it's all dodgy and stuff like that. They don't agree with it. They're going to go to the next. All these other decentralized. There's like loads of them that they could go. There's always be an alternative if people don't like something, because you can now kind of circumvent royalties for certain projects because the way like they sell.
But
sell
that,
the projects
Stash,
and stuff like that.
that's exactly why I think you could push the regulation onto OpenSea, because you could say it's in your benefit to do this regulation check for it to be listed on your website, and then you can make the money.
But
If you don't
OpenSea
do
doesn't necessarily work for the favor of the users, because I hate OpenSea, but everyone uses it, and I understand like they could play a massive role. Absolutely, I totally agree. I see your point. Like I'm in favor in that regulation as well, but I don't want like them being the Apple of the phone industry, like of the NFT industry, because they were basically one of the first, but because they're the first, they don't allow a lot of freedoms what these other exchanges that are offering. So like I guess
what would you think if OpenSea were forced to have some form of marketplace guarantee?
The thing is, right, so like eBay, let's say eBay. eBay have a sort of they've got a sort of way of, if you don't get the item that you bought, you can get your money back, right? The thing with that is, though, eBay transfers the money to the person, but through PayPal, their payment provider, right? Or whatever, or through their own systems now. I think they've changed from PayPal. They have a way of getting the money back, right? They can refund the user. They if you dispute it, you can refund the user. I think they have like a 30 or 40-day guarantee on that. The thing with NFTs, though, is a project such as CryptoZoo, right, can do that. And if you do that, right, where they're like, if you don't like it, after 30 days, you can get your money back. That still does not stop them scamming you in a year's time, right?
Yeah.
So this was only revealed
30th day, and you're like, oh, sorry, here you go.
Exactly. They could literally drop the ball on the 30th day when that guarantee runs out. And also the amount of trading that happens on the marketplace, like it's quite hard to see all the transactions and make sure you repay the right person this, and it's just a lot of faff, which I feel like OpenSea as a marketplace just doesn't want to have to deal with. It's the amount of NFT scams that are out there.
Hey, look, nobody wants to deal with regulation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I work in a regulated industry. Nobody likes doing the regulation, but it's there to protect people.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? We don't take on a client unless we've done KYC, anti-money laundering checks, because you have to do them, because you cannot be dealing with unreputable people. Do you see what I mean? Like the same way that you go, do due diligence on who you're working with. We do the due diligence on who we're working for. Because at the end of the day, it's company I work for. Their name is on the signed accounts. Their name is, all over it. You don't want to put, you don't want to put your name next to some bloke that's done whatever.
Yeah.
I just think that regulation is the only way we solve the scams, and I'm just trying to think of ways that you can do the regulation without. It's difficult because I agree with you boys. When you go, at the end of the day, the onus is on the person who set up that project to stop it being a scam. But is there potential that you could cut them out of future business? But it's not really doable because of how anonymized the blockchain is, and they could go to a different blockchain.
Let's say, right, you say, okay, if you're the creator of this NFT project, we need all your details. We need your ID, this, that, the other. We need to do a background check on you. They can do a background check on you.
Could they do it based on potential market cap? So if you're a little artist and you're going to release 100 NFTs and you're planning to sell them for 0.002 ETH, right? You do almost no regulation. If you're announcing you're doing a 10,000 collection selling for 1 ETH each, you have to do maximum. Do you see what I mean? I wonder if they could do a tiered system of actually going market cap based. Depending on your collection, you need to do a certain amount of due diligence and prove something. I wonder if that would maybe be a system where it'd work, where you don't punish the people at the low end and have some sort of medium.
The only problem.
Yeah, go on, Sash.
The only problem is when most mints, like people mint these tokens and stuff, it's not through OpenSea. They'll create their own website, they'll create their own smart contract. There's all decentralized, so there's literally no way of essentially stopping.
Could you not have like a blue tick system though, like an OpenSea, like the old Twitter days,
there are
where
it
goes
blue ticks on OpenSea. There are, or even verified collections have been scammed. What was that? Was it the Solana? There was a really big Solana one that was verified.
I mean, tie into that though that they've had due diligence checks as well. Make that part of the verified collection or something. I don't know.
I'm not sure how the verified system works because I know that you need to have at least something like 100 ETH or maybe even more ETH traded. The project, I think it might even be 1,000 ETH for the project to be verified. So I don't know if they require any details for it to be a verified collection, but I assume OpenSea, being the business that it is, having the I mean, it's a massive company, right? They would probably do their due diligence if they're going to publicly back this, verified.
I think we come to the conclusion there, boys, that actually there is no real way of doing it in the current market. I think people just need to do their own due diligence, which is what crypto comes back to every single time.
One more thing to what's really just kind of got me into it. There is a project I mentioned ages ago. It's called Quadrata Passport. And it's basically, I minted one. It's a soulbound token, and I think you guys should do it. It's basically a proof of humanity passport. So basically, they were awarded by MasterCard, and they're working with MasterCard for like future DeFi projects. So basically, you give in basically your passport details, and they're verified through like a totally anonymous encrypted system. So for example, if I want to participate in a token sale, and obviously certain countries aren't allowed, without revealing any information, who I am, blah, 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 it basically tells people that I'm a legitimate, real human, and like the possibility that I'm a scam or a bot is a zero. Obviously, people could steal people's passports and stuff like that, but in this case, like if you can't spam bot like 1,000, like get 1,000 bots with fake addresses and stuff like that, because obviously it also like scans your face, but it's totally like encrypted, never releases your thing. And like I think these kind of technologies will be the future to prevent these kind of potential scams.
Having some sort of verification, anonymous.
Yeah, so like in certain aspects, I'm totally for like anonymized KYCs like this Quadrata Passport, because I know there's certain things like when I had to sign up for certain ICOs, I had to give them my passport details, where I live, my phone number, what I do, what industry I am, and stuff.
How much I make.
Yeah, how much I earn, and and like there is always going to be a balance, and it's personal preference at the end of the day. Like I'm all like XRP and HBAR, they're like for like the bankers and centralized. And
do you think
it's people's preference, and one thing that I really liked when we spoke about is you choose crypto. You're not forced to do crypto. So at the end of the day, once you choose there's going to be sides. So we just have to see what sides are we going to be on. I think it's too early to think about that. Right?
I always worry about the idea of having KYC of me held by a third-party for-profit business. Like, I'd be much happier if the UK government released, this is a blockchain of KYC. In it is your driving license, your passport, your birth certificate.
Oh,
that seems like a great idea.
Yeah.
And actually, if that could just be tied in.
$1 million idea there.
Well, no, but we'd have to provide it for free, Chris, is the issue. Because but that is that's what I
But
think.
that's like a governmental level, like probably every single country. Well, they were probably more efficient to have these things on the blockchain because you could literally be like, there you go. You can't really
That's where I think governments will go.
Oh,
And
no,
you
absolutely.
and
that's when it'll
you
tie into CBDCs as well, and they would probably issue them from like a
Yeah.
similar kind of thing. Yeah,
and then we're in the matrix, and then it's all gravy. But no, I do think that's where identification documents will go long term. Because if you think about it, like, yeah, you carry like a passport, you go and verify whatever. But actually, if you turn up and you've got a QR code and the people in the airport scan it, comes up with the official document, the official website, your face is on it, you're good to go. And I think that's where it's going to go. Or even, like, do you go up with your fingerprint and then it pulls up your face and then they check. But actually, probably, do you know what happens? You scan the QR code, the AI in the camera scans your face, tells you yes or no, and you carry on through. And there'll be no people there at all, and that's potentially where it goes. But I think, boys, that has been one of my favorite episodes. It's been a very interesting talk. Honestly,
really
though, it's nice to have a bit of a discussion and push the boundaries on each other a little bit, and sort of just have a discussion about those bits, and also have a little wander, a weave.
I really liked you playing devil's advocate. I thought that definitely like a good thing to do, sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, what happens is, Chris, I hold these horrendous views myself, but I just say devil's advocate.
I mean, we already know that Stash is a big Trump fan, so
yeah. So there you go. Like, I'm 100%. Watch
He's
me.
massive.
I actually want an interview with him. Do you have any questions?
really? Oh my god!
Yeah. Me too. I'm going to that gala with him, and I'm going to hold his hand.
Oh, cute. Very cute.
I mean, Stash, if you did win an interview with him, we'd definitely podcast it. That'd be excellent.
That'd be the best thing ever.
It'd be the best podcast. But no, that I think has been this week's Weaving Web3 with me, James.
Wait, I have a little surprise for Poland, because this podcast. So unfortunately, my favorite thing in Poland is called pączki. It's a Polish donut, usually either filled with like nice warm rose jam, and it like when they're fresh from and it's covered like with like a thin icing of like deliciousness. So instead, there's not going to be any guessing where it's from, because
I was going to say I don't know any Polish.
So I have brought you two things. One of my favorite things, which is better than apple crumble, Polish. It's called a szarlotka. It's basically
that was sexy. That did things to me.
Rolling of the R's, man.
Yeah, there's like a sweet thin layer of crispy, like sugary crumble, then like a thick layer of like these spiced apples with like cinnamons and like it's
I think I've had that.
It's beautiful, and then a beautiful base, like like when you get a good szarlotka, you're like
that is doing things to me.
And then this is called faworki. It's basically deep fried dough with icing sugar, and like it's so fluffy. Like maybe
no, it's too fluffy.
I could not hear that.
No, okay.
But I was like, I'll overdub a crunch sound.
Yeah, big
please
one.
Please do. Like, yeah. But
I love the Stash snack segment.
Snack segment, yeah.
What's your favourite thing in Poland, Chris?
My favourite thing in Poland is currently Stash.
Oh, excellent. Fantastic.
Yummy.
Not calling him an object, but
no.
It's fine. Don't worry.
Of course not. Well, look, I think that then rounds out this week's Weaving Web3 with me, James.
Me, Chris.
And me, Stash. Live long and prosper.